Hey guys, welcome back to another lesson on Excel and 5 minute tutorial series. And it's been a while and it's good to be back. So in this video, what I'm going to quickly be showing you guys will be how you can audit your Excel worksheet. So what do I mean by auditing your Excel worksheet? Sometimes you can create a lot of formulas in our Excel sheet and then it becomes quite complicated, that it becomes very difficult to trace errors or try to make sure that everything is in order. So that is the main essence of auditing your worksheet. You just want to make sure that everything goes right. You want to do like a proper check on your Excel sheet, check how the formulas relate and things like that. So without further ado, let's quickly get into it. So the first thing that I'm going to be showing you guys will be the show formula options. So for auditing your worksheet, all the tools that you need can be found under the formulas tab, which is located right here. So this is it here. You'd see the formula auditing. So this is the set of tools that we are going to be using for auditing our worksheets. The very first tool that we are going to be taking a look at is the show formulas function, and what this does is it displays all the formulas that are existing in this worksheet. So let me just quickly show you that you don't need to probably make any cell active. Once you click on this button, it shows and displays every hidden formula that you have, and it expands all the cells. So as we have here, these are just inputs, these are numbers, and here you can already see the formulas, and so you can clearly see without having to double click or having to check the formula bar here. You can easily see what formula you're using to calculate each of the cells, and this makes it easy for you to spot errors and to quickly have a quick look at what's happening with your Excel sheet. Another tool that we'll be taking a look at is the trace precedent as well as the trace dependent. Now these two tools, they are like synonymous to each other. Okay, let's just take a quick look at what the trace precedent is. So let's just remove these show formulas and come back to our Excel sheet. So we'll be taking a look at the trace precedent. So what it does is it works on a cell that was calculated using an Excel formula. So let's take a look at this particular cell, for example, with $1,975,000. Clicking on it and then clicking the trace precedent, now you'd notice that it generates this long arrow that displays, that points to it. What this means is that these are the values that were used to generate this particular cell. Now if I'm to remove this arrow, all I need to do is remove arrows. If I come here as well and I click on the trace precedent, you notice that it's pointing to these two cells. Now one thing that I'd like you to take note of is the fact that when I used this particular cell, you'd see that this line is a little bit thin and then it's pointing to this and this. So if I double click here, you notice that what we are making use of is G5 and H5, which are the two cells that are being referenced in the trace precedent. Now however, let me remove the arrow and then let me just come here. In the case of this, clicking on the trace precedent, you'd notice that it's a very thick arrow. Now this thick arrow indicates that all the cells that are along this particular line were used in generating this formula, and the difference between these and these is the fact that these was generated using range. And if you check this formula, we used the sum of the range, which is C5 to F5. So you'd notice that all these cells from C5 to F5 were involved in calculating this particular cell. So that is the main difference. And you'd notice that this line is thicker if we compare it to these trace precedents. Now you'd see clearly this is thin and this is thick. So these will enable you to quickly note how a particular cell is calculated, this set of cells that are affecting which other cell, if you change anything here along this particular cell, you know that this particular cell will be affected. Now, a quick thing that I also want to show you is the fact that clicking on this cell and then checking the trace precedent. Now, clicking on the trace precedent once again, it will now still show you the set of precedents on those that are preceding the particular cells. That is, the cells that are used in calculating this cell, which other set of cells are used in calculating them. That is exactly what trace precedence does. So if there are more cells that are used to calculate this set of cells, it will keep on noting them while I click on the button. However, since this is where it ends, it skips that pause button to show that there is no other cells being referenced. So that'll be all for this video. In the next tutorial video, we're going to be taking a look at the trace dependent as well as the evaluate formula buttons. Thank you very much for watching to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe my video, and also if you feel that this might be helpful to your friends, don't forget to share to them as well.